Good morning, dear Dharma friends. It's morning again. Oh, that was the Avett Brothers, the song, The Fire. It's bright light outside. The sun isn't over the house yet, but we've come a long way from December. It's wonderful watching you pop into life here on the screen. Pop. Oh. There's Michael Shohan again. There's Lauren and Billy. There's Rebecca. Hi. It's like, oh, it's you again. It's Joe and his dogs. So, my friends, as artists of life, we have another canvas to cover today. Another symphony to live. Let's be awake for it. That's the big choice, isn't it? Shall I be present or shall I not? I have another short reading from the Magic Tales of the Magic Monastery. This is a rich trove of humorous and beautiful wisdom. Oh, another one just popped in. Let me see if that's... Yeah, I'm going to share two with you this morning. One of them is three sentences. You ready? The Audacity of Humility. I walked up to an old monk, and I asked him, "What is the audacity of humility?" This man had never seen me before, but do you know what his answer was? To be the first to say, "I love you." And this one is called The Crystal Globe. I told the guest master I'd like to become a monk. What kind of monk, he asked. A real one? Yes, I said. He poured me a cup of wine. Here, take this. No sooner had I drunk it than I became aware of a crystal globe forming around me. It began to expand until finally it surrounded him too. This monk, who a moment before had seemed so commonplace, now took on an astonishing beauty. I was struck dumb. After a bit, the thought came to me, maybe I should tell him how beautiful he is. Perhaps he doesn't even know. But I really was dumb. The wine had burned out my tongue. But so great was my happiness at the sight of such beauty that I thought it was well worth the price of my tongue. When he made me a sign to leave, I turned away, confident that the memory of that beauty would be a joy forever. But what was my surprise when I found that each person I met, it was the same. As soon as they would pass unwittingly into my crystal globe, I could see their beauty too, and I knew it was all real. Is this what it means to be a real monk? To see the beauty in others and to be silent? So if your eyes are still open, I invite you to allow these little Harry Potter postage stamp windows to come into your crystal globe. Maybe just one even. See someone here in their exquisite beauty. Find yourself. Look at that one. We wake out of dreams in who knows what state. It's quite unpredictable. And then we do whatever we do, and then we sit with our beloved, beautiful friends. And it's here that we set the course for the day. Actually, for the moment, for the rest of our lives. Seeing. Seeing with the crystal globe. So please now, my friends, let us do very little. Let's sit comfortably upright. And if the eyes are open, notice that seeing is happening. Seeing. And then if it's comfortable and safe to feel, if you feel safe enough to let your eyes close, let them close. And when the eyes are closed, seeing is absent. And the body can sometimes come into the foreground. It is alive, mysteriously alive. And it breathes. And it's possible to be present with this in-breathing and out-breathing. What do we really have? Is it the car or the house or the child or the career? Or the disability? Or what do we really have? We really have this. This moment of aliveness. This experience of a living body. This experience of a mind. And what is the experience of mind at this moment? Is the mind calm and quiet and concentrated right now? Or is it blurry or dispersed or going on long wanderings or short wanderings? Is it colored by a mood? Could be happy or sad, or could be depressed or elated. Could be obsessing. There might be sounds, including this voice that comes into being and then disappears. Sounds, hearing. We have now. There is in-breathing and out-breathing, in a way the metronome of our life. And we use this breathing, awareness of this breathing as a strategy to stabilize, to help us awaken from the dream life. From the life of wanting, 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 or not wanting, not wanting. And so we sit together. Sangha, community in practice. one of the major categories of practice, of observation, best known as the second foundation of mindfulness, is the human mind's propensity for liking and disliking. It encounters pleasure, things going the way I want, food of the nice flavors I like, relationship going well, good news, pleasant, wanting the continuation of this, wanting more. Or there's bad news. There's pain. There's disappointment in the relationship. There's a sick child. There's bad inflation. There's disliking. Liking and disliking, liking and disliking. With mindfulness and curiosity and concentration, we can observe this cycling between liking and disliking moment by moment. And it's not as though liking or disliking are wrong or bad, or they're just what are. They are just what are, what is. As a mammal, it's natural and essential that we can follow liking and disliking as a living being. But for those who cease to become human, more fully human, we must awaken and free ourselves from the tyranny of identifying with liking and disliking. Vedana, it's called. And so in this moment, is there liking or disliking? Is the mood of this moment pleasant or unpleasant? Are there pleasant sensations in the body and unpleasant sensations? And we cultivate mindfulness of in-breathing and out-breathing as a point of relative stability in the midst of a world which is profoundly unstable. For as long as we live, there's this in-breathing and out-breathing. That's a good friend. How intimately can you embrace in-breathing and out-breathing? We fall into a variety of trance states, the past, the future, liking and disliking, the rehashing of conversations. hopes and fears. And then there's waking up, realizing this is a dream. This story about this other person, this worry. And in fact, I'm actually sitting here. Sitting here now, in this place. And breathing in is happening, and breathing out is happening. Another thread that weaves its way through our practice is that of love. I aspire to love and accept myself. Exactly as I am in this moment. Kind of unfinished, remarkably unfinished. With every possible mental state coming through over time. It's my intention to love and accept this that I take to be myself. Right now, today, this moment. And of course, I'm a human. I'm a living biological organism, and there's pain. There's injury, there's aging. There are mental pains, moods. In every instance, when I encounter dukkha, the suffering inherent in being a human, it is my intention to hold myself in sweet compassion. Ah, yes, this too, I intend to hold this that I take to be myself as compassionately as I can. And so too with my loved ones and friends, and in fact the whole world. I aspire toward compassion, love and wisdom. We don't have to move an inch to exert our great influence upon the world. We are the world. To cultivate a moment of freedom from greed or hatred affects the world. To cultivate a moment of love or mindfulness or kindness or compassion in the moment of its arising affects the world. May all beings everywhere share in the merits of our practice. May all beings on every side of every war, of every context of oppression and oppressed, in every aspect of being born and dying, may all beings benefit from our devotion to supporting one another and drinking deeply of the Dharma. Hello, dear, beautiful people. I have a little bit in the way of announcing things. See if I can do this. Yeah, this will work, I think. The Brighton Bush retreat is now full, with the possibility of a waiting list. Interestingly, this is the first time that's really going to be a PIMC retreat at Brighton Bush, because we never released the link to Brighton Bush's website, so everyone who's coming is closely related to PIMC. There's another retreat I haven't talked about much in Canada. It's at Hollyhock, on sooner than the Brighton Bush, May 29 to June 3rd. Hollyhock is an astounding place. I've been going there for almost 28 years, I guess it is. And I'm teaching with Frank Later in Germany in July. So those are possibilities for that. The center, it appears, we will be having, we believe, the plan is April 3rd, I believe is the Sunday. And that will be you'll need to sign up to come. We'll have information on the website, and we have to limit the numbers. Everything's in flux about masks and this and that. We will probably have masks. I just got lost in a whole wandering mind of the list of things that need to be done. Oh, there's going to be a Karma Yoga Day. What day? Do you remember, Jim? Do you even know about it?
I haven't heard a date.
Okay,
No.
let me share the date because I was part of a discussion that said, oh golly, where does that happen? This, do you want to announce something while I'm hunting for that?
Well, I'm not a co-host, but if I were, I could show um, can Candle's announcement for
Oh, good, do
the
that.
retreat. But I'm not a co-host,
You are
so
now. Quit
thank you.
whining.
That's what I do best. Hang on. Let me find Candle.
While you look for that, on the 26th, there will be a Karma Yoga opportunity to come and do the final dusting and cleaning and so on. And in order to participate in that, if you're not already on the volunteer list, go to the homepage of PIMC, portlandinsight.org, and sign up as a volunteer. And then you'll be informed about that. Yeah. Okay, you got it, Jim.
Okay, let me open a link here and see if I can find it. It's so complicated. This is not working. Thought it would be so simple.
It's the first of
It's the 2nd of April.
okay.
Maybe I can just read it. There, I'll do that.
Okay, go.
Oh, here it is. Um, Working with difficulties, cultivating joy and calm with Candle Summers, Saturday, April 2nd, and it's on. As far as I know, it's an online half-day retreat from the 9 until 2, and it's not on the website yet. But I will put the registration link into the chat, and then you can um, call it up from that link, and then eventually we'll get it on the, as the second gets closer, we'll get it on the front page of portlandinsight.org. Thank you.
And Kat just posted the link for volunteering is now in the chat. Thank you, Kat. All right. So, enough of that. Is there anything you'd like to share? Any joy or delight or burden that you'd rather not carry all by yourself? I just muted you, Jim. Oh. Cat's being invaded by young people.
Hi, Robert. It's Carol.
Hello, Carol, in the far north. No, not in the middle north. Hi.
Yeah, not so far. Hi, good morning. Just a couple things. When you first came back from your holiday, you spoke about the possibility of having a one-day online retreat, and I wondered if anything was happening with that.
I almost scheduled it last night. It's very close. I'm very
Oh,
pregnant with it. It's just got to get birthed.
great. Okay.
Thank you for the encouragement.
Yeah, no, that's a wonderful possibility. And I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to.
Okay.
And the other thing was wanted to share the name of a very inspiring book I've been reading, almost as inspiring as Meditation for a Happy Life. Anyway, it's called The Buddhist on Death Row
Oh.
by David Sheff. Yeah, it's how one man found light in the darkest place. And I've just been finding it profound. It covers so many of the issues that we speak about in these morning sessions, and it's about a man called named Jarvis J. Masters, who has been in San Quentin for 31 years, and 22 of those years he was in solitary confinement. He is a Black American man who he just was born into a hellish life, and got involved in crime, and ended up in San Quentin when he was 19, and then 3 years later was accused of a crime that he hadn't committed, which was killing a guard, and went into the hole, which, as you can imagine, is just unbelievable. So he got involved initially with a group in prison. I think it was like the Black Panthers, as a form of discipline, to kind of as an outlet for his anger. But eventually he connects with a young woman who's a criminal investigator who has come to write his story, and she starts she has a meditation practice, and she offers him the possibility of doing a little bit of meditation, breathing practices, which at first he's totally against. He doesn't want to have anything to do with this meditation shit, but she keeps encouraging him, and she says all he has to do is sit and breathe, and he says, that's totally outrageous. That's two things that you would never be able to do in prison. Close your eyes is what she says. You have to breathe, and you have to sit, breathe, and close your eyes. And he says you can never close your eyes in prison. But he starts to do it, and so he confronts over time so many of the most again horrendous emotions come up, like anger, of course, and fear, regret. But he connects with through letters through her with a Rinpoche who starts giving him teachings, and who eventually actually visits him in the prison, and he at one point decides to take refuge with this Rinpoche. And when the Rinpoche comes and the guard comes to take him to the little room where they're going to go through the ceremony, the guard says to him, are you ready, masters? Are you ready? And it just hits him like a ton of bricks. He feels like he's being taken to his death. And he ends up realizing that actually this was his death. It was the death of his old self, his ego. And in any case, he becomes a mentor for, as time goes on, for the other prisoners, for the guards. He begins he writes some books about his experiences. He's encouraged to do that, and his books go into schools in California. He starts writing to students in schools, and Pema Chodron connects with him, who's been his teacher up until to date, and who he calls Mama. She's become the mother that he never really had. Anyway, it's just, for me, it's just been, like I say, so profound, such an inspiration for helping to put into perspective my own life right now, and through the challengings that we're going through. So I highly recommend it, and you can Google him, Jarvis J. Masters, online. because there's a group called the Jarvistas who are still working towards getting him exonerated. And there's a petition that can be signed, and yeah, pretty amazing. Anyway, I just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you for listening. I know that was long-winded.
I didn't experience it as long-winded at all, quite honestly.
Oh.
It's the Dharma lighting someone up in the midst of very difficult circumstances.
Yeah, I don't think anyone will be disappointed if they pick up this book. So, thank you. And I will post it on the chat.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
I've lost my... There it is. It's really bright and sunny in here this morning. Amazing. The garlic has gone crazy. It's about 8 inches high. I hear someone, but I can't hear you well. Hi, Larry. I see you now, but I can't hear you. Well, you're muted now. I won't be able to hear you at all, but the quality of the sound was very poor.
There, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Absolutely.
Okay, sorry. You know, I took my headphones off to talk, but my headphones are my mic on it. So sorry about that. So when I was a young father, I was a member of the Zen Center in Madison, Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to them about, hey, I've got a couple of kids. What do we do for the kids? Mm-hmm. And they said, well, in the Zen tradition, you stand at the gate and try to get in. We don't teach the kids. Okay, so I ended up taking my kids to the Unitarian Church. Life went on. My kids are now 30. And one of the things that happened recently is that I got your book. And I've been looking for an introduction to Buddhism for the longest time. I saw one when I was young and, when I was 19, 20 or something. And it was really amazing. I can't find it again, but it was just really laid things out really nicely and kind of Theravada thing. And your book just had so many really neat things that I was inspired to give it to all 4 of my children. And I just recently came back from a trip, my sick of COVID trip to see my grandkids in New Mexico and in Arizona. And both of my sons, my older sons that are young fathers, had your book in their little pile of devotional stuff that they do in the morning. So I just wanted to say, really, thank you for that book, and thank you for you. And it was really gratifying to see my kids see that.
That's very touching. Who knew? Thanks, Larry.
Good morning, Robert. This is Janice.
Hello, Janice.
How are you, everyone? So I wanted to delve into this liking and disliking
Mm.
a little bit more. Just as you brought that up this morning, I was off on a tangent, not liking what's going on here in my house, and I go there a lot, and I don't know. I mean, I can see that I'm not wanting and not liking and wishing we're different, but it's kind of ironic too that I know that when they're gone, then I'm going to be alone, and I'm going to not want that either. And so I'm struggling with trying to know how to get over that. I mean, it's like I can feel a pain in my body, and I can turn towards that, and it can, it goes away. But just wanting and not wanting is, I'm having trouble here.
I hear the suffering of it, Janice. Well, liking and disliking are very natural to us. We wouldn't survive as an individual or as a species if we didn't have liking and disliking.
Okay.
It's disliking the experience of fatigue that leads us to resting. It's disliking the feeling of our hand burning that gets us to pull it out of the fire. It's liking the taste of fat that takes us to foods that will keep us warm through the winter. I mean, it's an utterly natural part of us. Similarly, the little bit that I know of your situation there are things happening which are not very likable, which are really painful. And how wonderful that you can know what's not likable, what's painful, what you don't want to continue, what you won't allow to continue, where you will set limits. So becoming aware of liking and disliking isn't with the intention of never acting on a liking or a disliking. It's of becoming aware of the constant pressure that's on us from within, of liking and disliking, and we have a tendency, of course, it's very natural for us, that we can go kind of crazy on maximizing pleasure, right? I like pleasure, so I have to have a 8,000 square foot house, or I have to have, always have to have gourmet food, or we can go crazy around our pleasures. Similarly, we can avoid pain so horribly that we're completely unconscious. We will not allow ourselves to experience what's going on in us that is unpleasant. So it's not that we're going to get rid of liking or disliking. That's with us for the duration. It's part of our structure. But to not have to unconsciously act on every liking and disliking, that's where it gives us some modicum of choice. Oh, this is unpleasant and I don't like it. Well, perhaps I can bear it, or perhaps I need to bear it. But I can bear it consciously. Versus, I don't like it, I'm going to get away from it now, no matter what. Is that making any sense? I think you may have frozen, Janice, your picture. have to be careful what you say sometimes. People vanish. Liking and disliking.
Hi, Robert. It's Dave.
Hi, Dave
Your,
Mayer.
your liking, disliking note during the meditation hit me at just the right time. I've moved into this new house. There are boxes everywhere. There are so many things to do, and I kind of get excited by accomplishing this and that'll be done. And I'm sitting there watching me like being here and like having these things to accomplish. And as I was sitting there attending to the liking, there was a like a split, and I realized how much I like liking, and was able to then attend to my liking of the liking, and realized it's almost an addiction. I don't want to call it an addiction, but there is this huge pull towards the liking. And so I just sat with that pull, and it's a force. It's it almost feels like a tsunami to pull me out of this moment, because suddenly I'm into this list of all of those things that I can accomplish and how wonderful that would feel. And suddenly Robert's far behind. It was just on a really granular level interesting to watch how that liking, disliking pulls me out of the moment into my mind and thoughts.
Beautiful.
And the conversation is really timely.
And you mentioned addiction. Liking and disliking are, of course, the root of addiction. That I don't like this state, well, I think I'll do something about it. And learning to bear with liking and disliking, pleasure and pain, is part of how we set ourselves free from compulsive behavior.
And one additional part, there is an aversion to just being here. There is this, I don't know if it's the pull of liking or I'll have to sit with it, but there's something about just being here with all of this wash of things to do that is extremely hard and unpleasant.
Thank you. That's very clear. Hello, Janice. You're back. Was that making sense to you?
Well, it was, except that something happened to my internet, and I guess I crashed, so I missed all those words of wisdom. I mean, I got some of it, but I can go back maybe on the recording and listen to it. Or
well, let me say something else too. Becoming aware of liking and disliking is not intended to stop us from acting when we need to act. It's about giving us some degree of freedom of when we act. And learning to, sometimes we have to learn, well, part of our practice, we need to learn to bear that which is unbearable and to suffer less and less, because sometimes things are happening which are just downright unpleasant, like sickness, aging, death. And practicing learning to be with, to observe the disliking, the impulse to pull away, the impulse to go off into the mind, the impulse to use substances, the impulse to it's like, I will not bear this. If we practice with little things, and then we discover that we can suffer less and less with the things that are unpleasant, and because so many unpleasant things we can't change. And those that we can change, of course, then why not?
yeah. Okay.
Thank you for the question. Well, folks, is there anything else anyone would like to speak?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, this is Cody.
Hello, Cody.
Hi. Just about this topic that Carol, Dave, and Janice are talking about. You sometimes mention mantra, which is, I think it's something like, I aspire I aspire to love and accept myself. I'm wondering if that mantra has to do with aligning your stream of consciousness in a positive direction, away from suffering, kind of.
Well, to the degree that I can accept what is, there's less suffering, to the point of no suffering. If there's always something wrong with me that I have to fix, I'm on the self-improvement train, and then there's never an end to that. But accepting myself exactly as I am, it's such a powerful aspiration. I aspire to love and accept this that I take to be myself, exactly as it is right now. It's like a prayer. It's a prayer for freedom. What do you think of that? You still there?
Yeah, it's good. I try to use it. I don't always get the love part. I can do half of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's important to define love carefully, then, I believe. And I heard it one time from Ajahn Sumedho that the definition of love is that there is room for everything. And it's not then, we use love so poorly. I love this. I love granola, that kind of thing. But I could say I love green olives. Now that I can get into, but that's still not very skillful. But love in the spiritual, psychological context does mean that I accept this as it is. Like if you want, a person wants to be loved, what do they really want? They want to be accepted as they are. Exactly as they are. That's one of the things that makes falling in love so wonderful and exquisite, because we project on each other these idealized beings, and the criticizer goes away, and then there's this. It's like, oh, I'm accepted as I am. Of course, I'm accepted as the other person is projecting on me, but we wake up to that a little ways down the road. But that's the aspiration. I aspire not only myself, but I aspire to accept everything exactly as it is. In fact, I'd like to not, what is it? The great way is not difficult for those who are not attached to their preferences. Make the smallest distinction, however, and heaven and earth are set infinitely apart. If you wish to know oneness, then cease to cherish opinions for or against anything. It's a song of freedom, and we begin with liking and disliking as it comes up in our moment-to-moment consciousness.
Hi, I'll just quickly say something.
Hi, Joy.
Hi, in my experience, for a year now, we've been cultivating compassion. And in my experience, the more compassion that I'm aware of feeling, the more I can cope with states of dislike. Because I see it's kind of cocooned in all this compassion and love, specifically in relation to people. Like, you know how spouses can make you nuts, and you want to change them and criticize them and so on. Maybe not you, but anyway, I find that my compassion has gone up so much towards my spouse's vulnerabilities, and so I can have I can be more and more free from the states of dislike, and enter into more of a tranquil condition. So I appreciate just the daily mind training that this gives me, that has allowed this change. Thanks. That's
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Beautiful. Well, I must go. Thank you for being here this morning. It's a very nourishing, wonderful thing to do with you. Let's sing our way home. May all Mangalam Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam Bhavatu. Till soon, friends. See you tomorrow.